Hi, College Success. Welcome to your week 3 assignment video. So please make sure you've spent some time exploring the content of chapter 2, whether it's through the chapter lecture video or it's inside your materials folder, and you are spending some time in the chapter link or the slides. All right, let's take a look at the snapshot of what you'll be doing this week. So as I said already, you're going to be in chapter 2. Here's your assignments. So you have, as normal, a discussion post, just like the last couple of weeks. You have your original prompt due by Wednesday, your response to that prompt due by Wednesday for your weekly attendance, and then respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. Then you have 2 chapter 2 assignments, very similar to chapter 1 where you had 2 assignments, and you have a chapter 2 quiz. All of those are due Sunday as well. So let's go ahead and jump in and start looking to see what you have to do. So your chapter 2 discussion is going to, again, you're going to follow the link, and here's the prompt. So chapter 2, one of the pieces talks about learning styles, and so this is kind of connecting to that. Amanda is struggling in her history class. She is good at remembering dates and facts, but her professor's tests require her to analyze historical events through cause and effect. Amanda's not sure how to change her learning strategies to meet her requirements. So what advice would you give Amanda, and why do you think it would be helpful? So go ahead and visit if you need to, or revisit the content revolving like learning and different strategies for learning and her learning preference and motivation, all those different components, and talk about, okay, what should she be doing to maybe adjust how she is learning this information given the test format and how there's a lot of analysis and cause effect? What strategies would you recommend that she uses? What tools or what approaches? Should she use resources? Give some advice, and then why do you think it's helpful? So again, I just want to remind you that there's a 150 word minimum, so you want to try to get as close to that as possible. You want to respond to this prompt by Wednesday for your weekly attendance, and then revisit before Sunday to respond to 2 classmates. So that is your discussion board for this week. Your chapter 2 assignment, the first one is called Mindsets for Success. So you will open it up, and it's going to be in one of these PDFs where you can type right in. So on the left-hand side, this has a bunch of examples of fixed mindsets. You'll see that for whatever reason, they have replicated this phrase right here. This is too hard. I don't expect you to answer it twice, although if you want to come up with 2 examples, you can. And then on the right-hand side, these are a chance to change those fixed mindsets into growth mindset statements. So for instance, I'll use this one here. This is too hard. So saying, yes, biology is difficult. However, if I spend extra time studying and ask the teacher for assistance, I can make it my way through it. So do you see how there's a difference between saying, oh, this is too hard, kind of like implying it's not worth my time, and then you come up with a statement that's going to be like, you know what, if I spend a little bit more XYZ, then I'm going to be able to make my way through it. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about with growth mindset, I do talk about in the video, it's in the PowerPoint, and it's in the text. So you just want to make sure you take a very fixed, kind of stagnant phrase and turn it into a growth phrase that demonstrates there is ability for growth here. So you can look at the example they've already stated. Whenever you are done, you want to make sure up here you put save it with your changes, or else it's going to upload a very blank document to me. All right, so you will put that inside. There'll be a Dropbox right underneath there. So just make sure that you Dropbox that. All right, the next thing for this week is the chapter 2 assignment called the 10 to 25 year from now you. So that will open up in another PDF in which you can edit. So it's going to say, hey, pretend that you run into your teacher, and you can visualize whatever teacher you want, high school teacher, current, college teacher, in 10 years. What would that look like for you in these different areas? Educationally, relationship, financial, living, and other. Now pretend you did the same thing, but in 25 years. So it's kind of a goal setting exercise, but you're thinking 10 years from now and then 25 years from now. And so what kind of degrees will you have at both those points? Where will you be relationship-wise? How are you going to look financially? Where are you going to be living? What kind of situation? Again, we're visualizing, we're goal setting. Others, I've had students, talk about the type of travel they want to do or the type of animals they want to have. So that's up to you if you want to fill in that part. And again, just like the other one, you want to make sure you come up here when you're done and save it with your changes, or it's going to be blank when you upload it. And there, once more, will be a Dropbox inside this area. All right, and the final thing you're doing for this week, due on Sunday, is your Chapter 2 quiz. So this is going to be a Word document. You're going to open it up. Here it is. Remember, you're responding to each question in 2 to 5 complete sentences. So the first question is, think about teachers and experiences you've had in the past. Did they ever doubt you? Your potential for success? Did a teacher or an experience cause you doubt? Or was there any kind of situation for inspiration? Based on what you learned about grit in this chapter, what is your belief that you're going to reach your goals? So again, you want to make sure you address all parts of these questions. Question 2, think about a younger family member. It could be your own child, a niece, a nephew, a sibling, a cousin, could just be a best friend's kid, whoever. What kinds of messages are you sending about working hard to reach a goal? What messages are you sending about struggling and failing? Do you think you should change these messages? And how could you go about doing that? So it's really talking about how we come up with obstacles and how should we approach that. Question 3, when was the last time you asked a question in class? How did it make you feel? If you only take online classes, you can kind of equate it to, do you reach out via email? Were you worried about what others might think when you ask a question? Or were you more concerned with how the teacher was going to respond? And kind of just think about the thoughts you had and how you learned or what you learned from the experience, because asking questions for some people is very nerve-wracking. Question 4 relates back to that fixed versus growth. Have you ever considered whether or not you have a fixed or growth mindset? In what ways do you see yourself, and how can just knowing about that influence your decisions about future actions? Finally, question 5, have you ever heard about the hidden curriculum? Find someone and maybe ask if they've ever heard of it. What are some things that a college student needs to know that no one tells you in advance? And then make a list of those things. Those like, oh, I wish I would have known this before starting, anything about time management or studying or the vernacular of college. When you're done with that, you want to make sure you save it. And then again, there'll be a Dropbox down here. All right, so as a quick recap, for this week, you are spending some time in Chapter 2, and then you are completing your Chapter 2 original post by Wednesday for weekly attendance, respond to 2 classmates by Sunday, complete your Chapter 2 assignment, Mindsets for Success, Chapter 2, 10 to 25 years from now, and Chapter 2 quiz by Sunday as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Have a great week.